Next up is the climate plenary. We are running late. As you know, the key reason we're running late is that you were very late to arrive this morning, so that we actually kicked off about half an hour late. Our view and my view, and you can shout if you disagree, is that we've brought so many amazing people from 170 countries into the world to do this, and it would be a real shame to start rushing through things and cutting stuff out. So our intention is to keep to the original program. It's just going to slide back probably about an hour overall. So the reason we gave you sandwiches at the break previously is the intention is that lunch will be in about just over an hour. So we're going to do the climate plenary now, and then we're going to break for lunch.
Okay, so now we want to welcome the councillors to the plenary on the environment. And first of all, I would like to announce a woman count. Well, Jen, you know. Jen, come on up. And James. Where's James? James Chow, you know. And now this is a councillor who one of the team said when we announced that she was going to be a councillor. And this is a colleague of mine who's worked for me for years and who's been through all the pain of One Young World from the very beginning. And she said to me, this is the councillor I want to see more than anybody else. From Somalia, Waris Diri. Okay, and now I'm going to ask the convening ambassador on the environment to come up. Through her past experience and active leadership, this One Young World ambassador came to realize her desire to be a change maker and became passionately involved in youth empowerment. She's established a local environmental association in her country called Green Initiatives for Africa. She undertook the role of the Tunza Youth Advisor for the Africa region for the United Nations Environment Programme. She has community-based projects in Mauritius. There's so many, I'm having to turn the page. And her project was the runner-up for the Youth Excellence Award in Mauritius in 2009, just before we first met her. On the global level, she is also involved in youth mentorship, and her project for Tunza is called Global Environmental Outlook, and she's engaged also on working towards youth resolutions for the Rio 20 Summit. Karuna Rana from Mauritius.
Thank you, guys. I'm kind of small. Can you guys see me? Well, every drop of water is what makes up an ocean. I started on this last year. I entered on this last year, and I'm starting again this year with the same quote. Indeed, the One Young World ambassadors have made up an ocean of positive change through every environmental action taken at the communities, regions, and globally. Last year, the resolution adopted called upon governments to take more deliberate and legislative action to help guarantee that appropriate carbon emissions reduction targets are both agreed and met by 2020. After the summit, 20 ambassadors took on 11 projects to carry forward the resolution. The difference made in this area was massive. A total of 17.5 million people were impacted. Staggering, huh? We cannot be more proud of the enormous impact made by our ambassadors in the environmental area. Where do I even start? Pakistani ambassador Muhammad Ali Mustafa's youth-led movement, I Own Karachi, tackled the city's environmental issues through garbage collection, tree planting, and much more. He impacted 300,000 lives. Did he not face challenges? Political confrontation, yes. But he dialogued with the government and got the mayor to support him. Lack of funding, yes, but 150 members of his movement are funding from their own pockets. Conversely, Liautaud had some difficulties communicating the idea of climate justice through his platform, It's One Humanity, which you guys saw the video yesterday. But with the help of other One Young World ambassadors, he got his petition translated into 54 languages. And did we not have ambassadors who went up to the government to take the 2010 resolution forward? Nicolo Wagewoja has been leading global youth towards the Rio+20 Earth Summit, which is taking place next year. And finally, as Kate mentioned, I have been myself involved in the Tunza Youth Advisory Council with the United Nations Environment Program, which gave me the chance to contribute to decision-making processes such as COP, the upcoming Rio+20 Earth Summit, UNEP's Governing Council meeting, and the African Union Head of State meeting. These are only a few projects of the whole amazing lot. We had Aya El Ferraris empowering Jordanians to lead a green lifestyle, Owen Amandi from Kenya planting mangrove trees, Venezuelan Ambassador Jet Vargas holding the first Earth Hour in Venezuela and having 400,000 people participating. And of course, there are projects like Teens Turning Greens, The Lost Degree, which you heard of yesterday and you're going to hear today. Inspiring her, they have done what our leaders were supposed to do. And now, I urge you to be conscious of the facts and science which proves that climate change is real. I challenge you to be the generation of leaders that is not going to waste time talking, for our leaders have negotiated all our lives. I ask you to support small states, small island states, citizens like me, whose fate depends on your choices. I ask you to care for your own future and survival. I urge you to take back home at least one concrete action. Join a youth movement towards the Rio+20 Summit. Go speak to your governments. Calculate your own carbon footprint and make efforts to reduce it. This is your wake-up call. And now I'd like to invite to the stage two returning ambassadors, Tin Myat Htet of Myanmar and Chris Eigeland of Australia to tell us about their projects. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm coming from Myanmar, and also known as Burma. Many of you may know as my country as a country of political instability. Not only political problems, but also environmental problems are hot in my country. Burma is rich in natural resources, but we don't get any advantage from it. Our natural resources and our natural heritage are sold to neighboring countries, especially to China. Deforestation is happening because of over-exporting of woods. Voices of youth, the rights of youth, and the roles of youth are also ignored for decades. Now, it's the time to start changes as our country is now transforming into its first democracy age of our history. With the purpose of inspiring young people through open youth activities and informal learning in order to promote democratic and civil society, to encourage the young people to make voices for the positive future, for positive changes, and to increase their environmental awareness among young people, I founded Myanmar Youth in Action shortly after I have returned from One Young World 2010. Now, I'm showing you some of the pictures of my projects on the screen. Today, we focus on environmental activities, and later, we'll also work for health, education, IT, and poverty reduction. Through our current environmental activities, we are educating the youths to change their behaviors that is harmful to environments and reduce their carbon footprints. Within a year and 2 months, we have planted 2,000 trees around Yangon. We have organized the first Myanmar Youth Conference 2011 with 350 youth participants. We completed 10 environmental workshops, and around 100 participants are taking action by changing their behaviors through using plastic usage and using recycled products. Myanmar Youth in Action is started with 10 volunteers. We now have 30 core members, 50 casual volunteers, and 2 regular sponsors. Apart from our projected goals, our big aim is to register Myanmar Youth in Action as an official youth organization and to make more voices for our positive future. One young word, please support the voices of youths from Burma for our positive future. Thank you so much.
Well, it's great to be back after London 2010. In between now and then, though, my home state of Queensland in Australia was actually hit by devastating floods, really unlike anything my generation had seen before. Now, these floods impacted 78% of the state, which, for those of you not from Australia, is an area bigger than Germany and France combined, and it impacted over 2.5 million people. Now, the community was amazing, and it mobilized at levels I've just never seen before, particularly the youth. But when me and my peers were on the ground, right, we were hearing these remarkable stories, stories of courage, of selflessness, of tragedy, and even of humor. But because the floods were just so enormous, so giant, and so overwhelming, we felt that the real stories were being overwhelmed by the enormity of the event. The stories of individuals, the stories of people, our stories. As a response, ourstories.com.au was built. Now it's an interactive website based on a map of the flooded areas. People could click on an area and see first-hand accounts through photos, videos, blogs of all the people that have been affected in that particular area. Visitors could then upload their own stories, stories of their friends or families, or even one of a random act of kindness to be tagged and shared all around the world. Now, the stories we received were quite remarkable. Some of them were really humorous, or at least lighthearted. For example, an unfortunate resident who, being the diligent person she was filling up her bathtub with drinking water before being evacuated, but she returned to her home later to find that her house was flooded not by the rising river water, but by the bathtub she left on. Or to the inspiring, to the doctor who rode up and down the streets on his bicycle, turning upturned muddy eskies and drink coolers and seats into this temporary waiting room as he offered free tetanus shots to all in need. It was truly humbling to hear all these people's stories. Now, we built the site in over 36 hours, but within 24 hours of launching, the community had rallied around us. We'd archived stories from all across Queensland, which had thousands of unique page hits from all across the world, and we'd facilitated thousands of dollars to the Premier's flood appeal in Queensland. Now our stories is entering a really exciting phase, and we've evolved the platform into something which other people can use to catalyse their own causes, such as our HIV awareness campaign we're working on, and also a national anti-youth suicide campaign in Australia. If any of you have causes which you think could benefit from a geotagged storytelling platform, please come and see me after the session. I'd be more than happy to have a chat. Now, obviously I'm really pleased that such a simple idea has taken off like this. But for me, I believe personally that our stories represents a power that everyone here has, which is instant activism. And we've seen over the past 2 days how this instant activism has the power to shake up traditional paradigms in all fields, particularly the environment and media. So I invite you to continue that, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Karuna? I haven't got the list. Sorry, we've got it's Kate having a paper malfunction here. Okay. Could we have the delegate speakers for the Environment Plenary, please? Give them a round of applause. Wow. Are they good looking or what? Okay, so I'm going to leave the stage now to the councillors to do their introductions. Who's running first? Who's doing Parker? Is it Warris? James will chair you.
The young man I'm about to introduce is not only is an inspiration for all of us, but this morning I met him, and it really inspired me so much that I know I am in the right place. Excuse me, I got a cold, so I can. So I like to introduce, he was 15 years old when he went to a place where really a 15 years old child, you wouldn't think it would go. The North Pole, to study and to see himself, for himself. how bad the environment and the ice is melting. So he can tell us all and can educate us. His name is Parker. I am blind here. Parker Loud. Please welcome. Where are you? Oh, you are here, baby.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Ms. Deary. Such an extraordinary privilege to be here again. I can't even tell you. I would like to begin by saying that I strongly support this resolution in that it highlights the undeniable importance of the business community in addressing environmental issues and the fact that climate change must be a joint effort between businesses, governments, academic institutions, NGOs, and individuals. To begin, though, I would like to suggest that the resolution not lose sight of the science underlying climate change. And this includes research into assessing the impacts of climate change and also drawing upon a sound scientific basis for the development of business policy. This past April, I conducted scientific research on the Arctic Ocean on my second expedition to the North Pole, the One Young World North Pole Expedition. At the end of each day of this 120-kilometer expedition, we collected 100 measurements of snow thickness and noted surrounding climatic, oceanic, and ice conditions. The data is being used in observations of climate change in the Arctic, but also for the validation of the Cryosat-2 satellite, which is a scientific satellite launched in 2010 to record the thickness of polar sea ice. While the data has been incorporated into a long-term data set, predicted findings reinforce a number of striking estimations, such as the expectation of an ice-free Arctic in the summer by 2050. And it continues to blow my mind that despite being scientifically proven, and I've gone there and I've seen it with my own eyes, it continues to blow my mind that half of Americans don't even believe that the climate is changing. And in continuing a focus on the science underlying climate change, I plan to embark on another expedition to the North Magnetic Pole in April 2012 to collect additional data and determine the location of the pole, which is constantly shifting. So there are many factors at play in the climate change debate, but really the only way to assess the issue accurately is to have a strong scientific basis. And we really cannot afford to cut back on this aspect of the issue. So moving forward, I would suggest that the resolution include a call for businesses to support scientific activities and scientific research underlying climate change. In addition, young people should increasingly look to exert their influence on business. And this is a point that's come up before, especially in the global business plenary. Our generation must recognize its power as consumers and its responsibility as citizens of this planet to support businesses demonstrating concrete emissions targets, but also publicly hold accountable those that do not. And we should also recognize that certain industries stand to benefit significantly from the effects of climate change, such as those that would use increasingly accessible shipping routes through the melting Arctic Ocean. And therefore, we should really expect higher standards of compliance from these in particular. We have the power to exercise advocacy and our power as consumers. So I would call upon you to exercise this power. We should demand of our country's corporations the submission of a concrete plan to reduce emissions by 2020 before the start of the Rio +20 Earth Summit in 2012. Those that commit to action today will then benefit from our support in the long run. Now, last year, John Bryant quoted Churchill in his speech on global dignity when he said that success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And this is the exact principle that applied to me when I didn't make it to the North Pole on my first attempt. And I came back the year after and made it and planted the One Young World flag at the North Pole. And this is the same approach we must apply to climate change. Because we're not going to solve this issue. We're not going to conquer climate change without some compromises and failures from all parties. And corporations have limitations too, because they have a legal responsibility to maximize shareholder value, a legal responsibility to ethically manage their workforce. So by supporting a collaborative effort in which governments, businesses, academic institutions, NGOs, and individuals work together, respect each other's limitations, and focus on scientific facts instead of politics, we can meet the challenges of our generation. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Parker, I just wanted to say something before you disappear, before you run off another expedition. I have a confession to make. I'm very, very jealous of Waris Diri. A, because she's got great legs, and B, because she got to introduce you. I'm a newsman, and I know about the environment, and I hear about the environment, and I have the information and share it with other people through my program. But when I got that tweet from you a couple of days ago, so it's amazing that we meet also through social media, I, of course, knew who you were straight away because you were the person who made me understand and realize why it is so important, because we're all coming with you on your journey, not literally, but maybe one day, but we all come with you on your journey as you collect your scientific data, and you don't make it about yourself, but you link it to so many things which are so important. So thank you very much, and all the best of luck. Thank you. Okay, who here is from the Philippines? I hear there are about 6 of you in here. 5, 6, 6? I know there's one here. Oh, you're very quiet. Who here is from Asia? Okay, well, our next speaker is from Asia, so I'm particularly proud to be able to introduce her to you today. When I looked at where she came from, not just in where she studied and what she is, but where she came from, I sort of understood why she is the way she is today. Her name is Angela May Minas, and she comes from a place called Los Baños in Laguna, which is 63, 65 kilometers away from the capital, Manila. Even her profile picture has her surrounded by lots of greenery, and as you'll see in a minute, she's also wearing floral prints on her dress. So this is also very, very special. I'm a communicator professionally. She's a communicator especially by heart. She studied science and communications, and what she does is bring complex but vital bits of information to us so that we really understand what it means to us and why it matters to our world. Someone said to me, and I don't know if you're here in this room, but someone said to me that it's so odd that we buy car insurance and health insurance, some of us, if we can afford it and have access to it, but we don't buy environmental insurance. She runs this website called KC3, which is the Knowledge Center on Climate Change, and she's going to tell us about how she grew this idea. And this is what some of you are going to do. It wasn't even a community project. It was an idea with one school friend, which last year had its first workshop, which this year was properly launched, and which now she brings to Zurich to all of 1,000 plus people from almost every single country on this planet. Angela, come and tell us what it's all about.
Good afternoon. 3 years ago, on my first trip outside my country, I get questions like, where is the Philippines? How is life there? I come from Southeast Asia, from a developing country made of 7,107 beautiful islands. However, unfortunately, it is also where an average of 20 typhoons visit yearly. And with the climate changing, extreme weather events has caused stronger winds, heavier rains, and more flooding, disrupting agricultural production, jeopardizing food security, damaging infrastructures, and taking the lives of many. We are victims of climate change, even if we're not big emitters of carbon dioxide. This is just one story. I'm sure you all have your own stories in your own countries. Some may even be worse. Climate change is a global problem requiring global solution. If we want to be successful in adapting to and mitigating the effects of climate change, we should start first with informing and educating people about it, especially those in the most critical sectors, living in vulnerable areas. In the Philippines, the concern is in agriculture and natural resources. The organization I work with, the Southeast Asian Regional Center for Graduate Study and Research in Agriculture, and our project, the Knowledge Center on Climate Change, or KC3, plays a role in delivering this message to the concerned sectors. KC3 is an online portal of information and media materials providing quick and easy access to knowledge resources and good practices in climate change adaptation. We aim to contribute to strengthening the capacity of Southeast Asians in climate change, specifically within the domains of agriculture and natural resources management. We address our materials to a variety of audience, from fisher folks, farmers, development workers, and to policymakers. What we do, it's just one way. There are many others. And whatever actions or projects we are now involved in, we should always aim for its sustainability. I have always believed that if we want to sustain good environmental practices and impose environmental actions, there should be sound policies. And as the world continues to be one global village, I trust that international action and cooperation can prove effective in saving what is left in our world. This specifically for Rio+20 and COP17, which will happen in Durban, South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, this talk is not just to tell you about climate change. This is a call to our global leaders to make Rio+20 and COP17 count. We need to make clear demands that are realistic, achievable, and will make a difference. Firstly, we need to demand an end to fossil fuel subsidies. We can count down the world's carbon emissions by more than 5% if fossil fuel subsidy stops. It will reduce overall energy consumption and would also free up government cash, that which can be allotted to other measures such as investments in renewable energy and other green technologies. This can be done. Secondly, we need you to set a target year to stabilize the world's temperature. Leaders can set the target year to 2015, 2020, 2030, but as long as we take this step, we are placing the world's climate change battle on the right path. Leaders, we urge you to take bold moves. We need not only your monetary support to climate projects. We especially need your pledges and committed actions to reduce your country's carbon emissions. In this day and age, our world needs unselfish decision, and it is about time. This talk is, of course, a call to you, my fellow youth, to forever be hopeful, positive, and active in the fight against climate change or any other environmental or social issues that concerns our future and the future of those who will come after. Our Philippine national hero once said, "The youth is the hope of our future." And yes, definitely, we can change the world. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I have the pleasure of introducing someone who I met in July at the UN high-level meeting on youth in New York. We were together in a session that was about engaging the voices of youth in the Rio+20 process, and I know he wants to speak with many of you during the lunch break as well. His name is John Paul Brice Affana, and he is the youth focal point for the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change Secretariat. He started getting involved with civil society at the age of 15, and it's amazing to think of how so many of us, we started at a young age, and how important it is to engage with youth. And he works to engage with young people in Cameroon, where he's from. He has an initiative called Youth to Stop Trashing Beaches, and he does a whole mobilization and awareness campaign. They use photography and use all forms of creativity to create awareness, and they launch an awards program for promoting environmental sustainability. And he also has a campaign at his university called Making Your Room Green for the Planet. Please join me in welcoming John Paul.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer, for the great introduction. It's a kind of big role to deliver this speech now. Like many people in this room who have their own stories, mine is about my vulnerability to face environmental disaster in my country. And the question today is not to know how the consequences affect the life of people or affect my own life, but it's to know how we can work together to address the problems so that we can really, really contribute to the solution, not be part of the problem itself. Our government and business leaders today should be aware about our common demand, to bring them to take the fair, ambition, and binding decisions to make the change happen. Because they always have an opportunity to make this change happen. That's why we are calling them to do that. The next year, we will have the Rio Plus 20 Health Summit mentioned by most of my fellow delegates here. And it is another occasion for them to make sure that they can move from lack of decision-making to responsible leadership in terms of achievement of sustainable development. The world doesn't need only leaders who take the decisions. We need leaders who take the right decisions. And we need responsible leaders, because when they take the decision now, they take it according to the interests of their own nations or the interests of themselves as individuals. And I remember Kate say here that when you accept to be corrupted, you accept it as an individual. You don't accept it as part of your country because you want to take advantages from corruption. So how can you be part of the global decision-making in terms of achievement of sustainable development and take the decision for yourself, for your country, and say that you are part of the global decision-making process? It's not fair. I want you to hope, like people who are suffering now from the impact of climate change and the degradation of our environment. Like this child living in Africa with limited access to clean water, like this woman who suffers from deforestation in South Asia, like this family living in Vanuatu with every day the risk of waking up in the morning and facing a flooding coming from sea rising. These are the situations many people are living now, and it's a reality. But like you, I have hope. Like these people, we have to hope so that we can really work together to be more powerful. It is time for government and business leaders to take the right decision and then make sure that we can achieve something in Rio. Because before Rio, we will have the COP17 mentioned by one of our delegates here. And after the COP, we have the Rio Plus 20 Summit. These are spaces for these people to take the right decision. And if we want them to be active, we have to start now to lobby them. And actually, we have many, many ongoing processes that allow us to make sure that we can really contribute and provide our inputs. And I want you guys to be part of these processes. My personal contribution, for example, is to make sure that I am really active with the major group of children and youth at the United Nations Commission on Sustainable Development to ensure the effective participation of young people in the process. Like Jennifer said, I'm also the focal point of youth organization at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change Secretariat since December 2010. And I'm already playing that role to make sure that I really, really encourage young people to care about how climate change affects themselves, how they can be part of the solutions. I'm proud about the result we already achieved, but I'm sure that we can do better. We count now on those who take the decisions, because tomorrow we will have to take the same decision. But we already started to take this decision to be here. You decided to be here. The organizers were able to pay your flight, to arrange everything for you, and you were able to say that I'm not going to Zurich. But you did it. You are here now, and we want you to be part of the solution now and beyond. Jennifer and I, we organize a consultation so that we can see how we can provide more space for people to provide their inputs. Because today in Bonn, in Germany, started the DPI conference. It's a preparatory meeting for the Rio Plus 20 meeting. And people, until the 1st of November, have an opportunity to say what they want to see as their vision to achieve a more sustainable world. We will organize this consultation for you, just behind these doors. Please join us. Please make sure that you can be part of the solution. Please make sure that you are not a simple delegate in this summit, because I heard many people this morning saying that they came here to make sure that they can really, really discuss. So this is an opportunity for you to be part of this discussion. You will never have the second chance to create the first impression. Remember that. But you will always have many, many opportunities to be part of the change, to make the change happen. Please do it. Join us, and let's push our leaders to make sure that our world will not fail, because we want to be part of the future. We want our children to be part of the future, and together we can make it happen. Thank you.
And this will take place during the lunch break, the consultation that he just referred to in the back room.
Yes, I have to stand up for this beautiful young lady. I met her this morning today, and you know, to make a change, it really starts home. Home as a community, home as a village, home as a family. And she's trying. She said, I am really fighting to change the community, and I don't feel like they are following me yet. I don't think they hear me. And it's only one thing I could say, sister. Don't ever give up, because they will follow you. And so and she's from Honduras. She works very hard for what she does and believes. And I am proud of you. So please, Frances Denisse Mclean, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's such an honor to be here. Let me start with some questions. How many of you think the environment is an important topic? Okay. Now, thank you. How many of you think the environment is the most important topic? I see. This is interesting because where I come from, only 15% of people believe so, and I need to make a case for this. Despite the strong scientific evidence linking human activity with climate change, for some people it might still be a matter of debate. Less arguable is the fact that our vulnerability to extreme climatic events has increased. Honduras and Nicaragua, for instance, are now among the 5 most vulnerable countries in the world, with annual losses of around 3% of our GDP. And we must also acknowledge that every single action represents an impact to our planet. But as I could provide examples on how carbon neutrality can be both profitable and constructive, crises in finances, resources, justice make the environment seem less like a priority. My job in research made me analyze this from an economic perspective. I learned that our daily activities and their impact are often based on the rule of financial profit maximization, ignoring the social and environmental implications of our growth, and missing that the crises we face are highly interrelated by their environmental component. But I also learned that as globalization becomes a reality, we better understand what we humans need to develop our true potential. Also, we understand the actual physical limits of our natural resources, and more importantly, we understand that not every economic theory adequately accounts, either for the scarcity of natural resources or for the satisfaction of human needs. Our system fails in this, but there is an option. We can reframe our development approach by choosing to maximize quality of life before financial profit, administrating not only financial but all scarce resources, mainly natural ones, emphasizing the satisfaction of people's needs, internalizing the true cost of our activities, and taking advantage instead of the abundant human ability to create. And we can then measure our progress in terms of the efficient creation of well-being. These possibilities are real at any level, and for this reason, I support this resolution, and I call not only upon businesses, but governments, people, and especially One Young World delegates, to choose healthy relationship with our environment as our framework, efficiently using financial resources as a tool to promote human capital growth. We demand from leaders, starting by ourselves, first, to acknowledge the evidence and rapidly join climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts at all levels. And second, to direct our activities toward a green global economy consistent with the limits of our nature. Outcomes from COP17 and Rio+20 Summit should clearly reflect this commitment. And as delegates, we should hold our leaders and ourselves accountable through our network. For this purpose, I will start the project goingneutral.org, an online platform to inform and encourage our community to take the path toward carbon neutrality through efficiency on the use of resources, which you are all invited to join and support. Clearly, the need for resource will remain as important issues, but by addressing our relationship with the environment, we address all current crises more effectively. We prevent their future aggravation, and we reflect our unique ability to consider the future. Thank you very much.
Well, I have the pleasure of introducing a fellow Canadian who I just found out is also from the same city as me. And it's always nice to meet someone who's from your city in another part of the world. Mary Kang is a PhD student, and she is extremely passionate about spreading the word on climate change issues and energy, and she has some great recommendations on the use of fossil fuels. And she also has a grassroots campaign that's focusing on carbon capture and storage. And I had the delight of learning also about a personal thing she's working on. She's digitizing recipes from her grandmother, and she goes to the local farmer's market, and she gets different types of vegetables, and she goes home and she creates traditional recipes with new types of vegetables. And so I just invite you to join me in welcoming a very creative Canadian, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you for that very warm introduction. So I'm going to start. The Earth has scurvy. What do I mean by that? Well, scurvy is a disease that sailors used to get from a diet deficient in vitamin C. Sailors would often go for months subsisting on cured meats and grains. So basically, they weren't getting enough fruits and vegetables. So if food can be thought of as an energy source, such as solar or fossil fuels, then wouldn't you or me as the Earth is sick from our overuse of fossil fuels and a lack of renewables. There's unequivocal evidence linking our dependence on fossil fuels and climate change. More than 80% of world's energy production relies on fossil fuels. And when we burn fossil fuels, we emit carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas that traps heat and raises temperature, which in turn causes ice sheets to melt, raises sea levels, and increases the frequency and intensity of hurricanes and other natural disasters. So yes, we need to move away from fossil fuels. But the truth is, renewables alone cannot meet our energy demands. Solar and wind are great, but they don't give us enough food to survive. Today, renewables only make up 13% of world energy use. Every year we do nothing, our annual emissions will continue to grow, and temperatures will eventually rise to dangerous levels. We simply can't wait until our next big scientific breakthrough. We need to use everything we know now so that we have insurance against potentially devastating effects of climate change, which are going to be very expensive. And that includes energy efficiency, wind, solar, nuclear, and a better use of fossil fuels. So, have you guys heard about the low-carb diet? The diet basically labels carbohydrates as bad. But studies have now shown that eliminating it from your diet is not the best strategy. So let's think of carbohydrates as fossil fuel-based energy. If you get your carbs from potato chips and Big Macs, that's like burning fossil fuels without thinking about emissions. But if you get your carbs from whole wheat bread and rice, that's like burning fossil fuels and without emissions. That's where a technology like carbon capture and storage that allows for the use of fossil fuels without carbon dioxide emissions comes into play. We can use this as a bridge solution until renewables can meet our energy demands. Again, we can't solve the climate problem without addressing our reliance on fossil fuels now. But nothing will happen if governments around the world aren't motivated to do anything, and we need their intervention. We, as voters, need to show the politicians that reducing carbon dioxide emissions is a priority now. But we need to be informed about the link between energy and climate change and the urgency of the issue. We've learned from Facebook that we are more likely to listen to what people we know say. How many people here are engineers, scientists, mathematicians? Okay. I'm an engineer doing research in carbon capture and storage. As an engineer, I've been engineered to be a poor communicator, and I've been failing at communicating what I do and why I do it to my friends and family who are not engineers. So what I'm working on right now is a grassroots campaign called Mainstreaming Carbon Capture and Storage to get my fellow scientists and engineers to spread the word about what they do to their family and friends. Simple as uploading a short video on YouTube and posting it on Facebook, which is what the campaign is mainly centered around right now. So if you work in climate change, spread the word about what you do. And for the rest of you, come talk to us. Hopefully, we can create a buzz so that when climate change issues are brought to the table of decision makers around the world, at the Earth Summit in Rio, for example, decision makers will be motivated to making reducing carbon dioxide emissions a reality. Thank you.
Navin, can I ask you to come up here? Because I feel so far away when we introduce each person, you know. But you know what we're given? We're given a sheet of paper with each speaker's biography, but a sheet of paper doesn't tell someone's story, nor someone's journey, not your journey anyway. So 3 interesting facts about you. You lived and studied in Hong Kong for a few years. Wasn't expecting that. You are from Bangladesh, and there's one thing that I connected, one thing that stood out on your biography was that you say that we must stop talking. The L'Oreal guy says something about blah, 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 right? So we must stop blah, blah, blah about the future. But we must talk about today, because right now is today. And you have a little saying, which is today is tomorrow. We've already moved on from yesterday. So I'm going to take that away from me. But what I want to tell you before you come and speak is that you have this project called the Green Channel, which you set up in Dhaka in Bangladesh with your school friend called Ibtisam. And what Navin does is that she doesn't just talk about don't litter or recycle, things that, you know, I hear quite a lot as well, but she lends people, you know, basic but effective tools and skills with which they can improve their own environment. So, for example, how to recycle waste and how to turn food waste into compost, and also cleaning the lakes around in Bangladesh. So these are things that you can do, and very real and tangible things that one can make in their own living environment. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can tell us more about that. And you got something about innovation, don't you? Yeah. Great.
Thank you, James. I think I'm going. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon and assalamu alaikum. Very strangely,
all of us who are sitting in the front today, the delegates, we're all wearing black. So backstage, it just felt like, are we attending a funeral? A funeral of the earth, probably? So let's really hope that does not become a reality. A liter of light can be the answer to the problem of many people still living in the darkness today. It is a project that envisions to provide economically and ecologically sustainable source of light to the underprivileged areas in the Philippines. The idea is simple and cost-effective. A bottle of water with bleach in it, when put halfway to the roof of a small tent house under the sun, it works as a light bulb. Now, there's definitely a little bit of physics there that maybe Mary can explain to you, but I won't get into that. But it's interesting, isn't it? This idea was first discovered by an engineer in Brazil. Until yesterday, solar panels were probably one of the only answers to some problems posed by climate change issues. But today, as this project demonstrates, we do have more alternative, cost-effective approaches that has been already successfully implemented. With a little bit of creativity and innovation, we can indeed unfold the much potential this world possesses. So I urge you all to begin incorporating innovation as a core aspect into the change-making culture of today's world. And I think which I think is highly important in dealing with all the issues that we're discussing here today. Let me tell you how a nonprofit company, Grameen Shakti in Bangladesh, utilizes a creative method to install solar panels. They're highly expensive, you all know, I guess, but Grameen Shakti successfully combines the tool of microcredit and provision of solar panels, making its installation possible in more than 40,000 villages. This project trains poor women to install and repair these panels. As a result, creating employment, empowering them, and encouraging a cleaner and greener source of energy. More than half of the 162 million people in Bangladesh do not have access to electricity. Now, what is interesting here is that Bangladesh receives enormous amounts of sunlight year-round. And therefore, the installation of such innovative items like solar bottles or solar panels not only is a way to become environmentally friendly, but to meet the increasing demand of electricity that these countries are unable to provide. One of the beneficiaries, Akbar Ali, says, "We could not work much before we got the solar power. But now we can work until 10 in the night, so it boosts my income." So the message I'm trying to convey here to you guys through these two examples is very simple. Elements of a green economy does not only ensure environmental sustainability, but have a much bigger positive consequence in our lives. And it's high time that we realize that. Today, mushrooms can be used instead of conventional synthetics to serve our needs. Aluminium cans can be used to make batteries. Silk can be used in place of styrofoam to make cups, etc., etc. The list is really long, but they're all out there. But how many of us are actually thinking of utilizing these innovative approaches? Unfortunately, not many, except for the environmentalists. But interestingly, you do not have to be one in order to be a part of this change. I urge you all to take a step forward and make the little difference you can within your own arena. Invest in using a renewable energy at home and at work. Use recycled chairs. Make compost out of the waste food that fills up a big chunk on our landfills. It's time we stop expecting the governments to take all the responsibilities and ourselves become proactive citizens. There's an expression in Bengali called "ek hate tali baje na," which in English is, "You can't clap with one hand." It's time we rethink about our approach to change. I launched a project this year called Green Channel, where students were taught ways to recycle paper and to make compost out of food waste. More than 450 volunteers then helped clean a portion of a polluted lake in Dhaka. That was a means to raise awareness through action. And finally was NY Outcomes, a mentorship program, the purpose of which in Green Channel is to empower more young leaders to come up with creative environmental solutions. This year's NY Outcomes team, with financial assistance from Green Channel, will be sorting out waste materials collected from restaurants and sending them off to recycling plants. And to follow up with what we did in phase 1, we have started setting up student-run paper recycling plants in schools. to link this concept to the education system of Bangladesh, which is highly deficient of environmental education. And we hope this will also create a sustainable system within the campuses, an idea that has already been practiced in United World College of India for years now. In the years ahead, we plan to focus on reducing energy poverty in Bangladesh, which is a key issue, and that is a hindrance to many other sectors of development. In only 20 days, we have raised $4,000 US on the Global Giving website. And in a span of 1 month, I've received the support of 450 volunteers, 50 organizers, and even more sponsors to make Green Channel possible. And my big lesson from this, there is no lack of financial assistance and support from the world. And I felt that in a developing country. In fact, only 3 days ago, when we were not even trying to raise funds, we have received an anonymous donation of $900 US. So we've received an enormous amount of support. And so, all we have to do is just reach out and be the social entrepreneur. Or at least, the least you can do is to adapt to a greener way of life. As Martin Luther King has said, the time is always right to do what is right. And the action that we always talk about has already started. The wake-up call has already been made. I guess you've seen in Dr. Yunus's sayings. So go home and make your difference. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so now it's time to go to the Q&A. So if you have questions, points of view, issues you want to raise, I think what we're going to do, because we're conscious that we want to make sure that everyone has time to speak, is we'll do about a 15-minute Q&A. We'll then put up the resolution, but we'll leave the mics on over lunch. So if people want to carry on giving points of view, discussing, debating, we'll leave the mics on over lunch.
This microphone was switched. It is switched on. Thank you very much, guys. Apparently, we only have 2 stand-up microphones, and we're going to have a third microphone, which is sort of James and me together. Boris, would you like to start off with your lady?
Hello.
People can actually queue here.
It is?
We have 15 minutes.
Maybe because I can't hear myself. Hi, what's your name and where are you from?
I'm Aya from Jordan. I know I spoke yesterday at the Interfaith Dialogue Project, but I'm an environmentalist as well. So I founded that project in Jordan. It's called #Green in Yarmouk University. What I do is I educate people about the environment. So if anyone wants to implement that project in their universities or school, please feel free to approach me. Another thing, we have to stop asking businesses or firms or governments to act. We have to act. We have to start acting. We are the next CEOs. We are the next members of parliaments. We are the next presidents. I'm not done. So change your lifestyle. We can all be environmentalists. Green is the new pink, and pink is sexy. So green is the new sexy.
Thank you so much. Talking about pink, I think that's the right point to switch over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you. I love the color pink. I'm here with Shahid from the UK with parents from Bangladesh.
Me again, everybody. I'm so sorry. You're probably bored of me now. You should hear what my colleagues say. I'm from Bangladesh, even though I'm representing the UK, and it's not a question or an answer. It's just a quick contribution that I read in The Independent a while ago. Bangladesh contributes less than 0.3% to the world's carbon emission. That's less than Manhattan in the US. Yet Bangladesh is most likely to be underwater by the end of the century. And what I don't want is for you to be reading in the newspapers, Bangladesh, 1971 to 2071, born in blood, buried underwater. Just another quick point for Dave and Kate. We've been going on about Twitter and Facebook and digital media. Has this printing all of this been really necessary? Really, I mean, it's scattered all over the floors at the back. Let's be smart. Let's use digital.
Thank you so much to also sticking to your 40 seconds. James, you've got the next candidate.
Okay, very quickly over here. Hi. Okay, so we have Ahmed from Mauritania, whose hand was the very first one that flashed up in the room. So I'm sure it's really, really urgent.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Ahmed from Mauritania. I just want to point out something very quickly. I'm actually here representing a country that has never been involved in this type of summit. So the people over there, they don't know about the environment. They don't know about the climate change. But as a part of this country, I believe definitely that we can change the world. We can change the climate change. We can proceed. We can act. So please take action. And this is the time, and we should start from here. Each one from us should go back to a country and change the world from there. Change the mentality of the people. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Boris, would you please introduce the next person at your microphone?
Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? I'm Pancho. I'm from Ecuador. Hey, guys. Sorry I lost my voice yesterday. Don't judge me. First, I wanted to congratulate the speakers. What a great job. Guys, not just in this panel, but all the other delegations, media, global health. We want to work together, so if you want to collaborate with the media group, we can spread this word and be unstoppable, as I said yesterday, working together. And as I mentioned, I study in the United States, and nothing upsets me more to see how many people is apathetic about this topic. As Parker said, many of them don't believe that climate change is real. And so, and their influences Latin America as well, like Francis said. So I would like to add to this resolution that media would spread the word and really teach people what is true, because governments that feel that reducing carbon emissions is risky will never act unless we, the people, make them act. United States, my friends, I love you all, but it's time to change. This is a wake-up call. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jennifer, over to you.
All right, I'm introducing Emmanuel from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to speak for Africa and for the Congo in particular. We, actually, as African, we have a role to play in this fight against global warming and climate change. But I've got a warning and a concern about especially my country. As we know, the DRC will have a big role to play in this fight. As we're going to give, as DRC, we're going to give water, we're going to give the Congo forest, we're going to give hydroelectricity in this fight against global warming. But my concern here is, what are we getting back? As we know, again, we have given to the world a lot of minerals, and what did we get in return? We got war. So my concern here is, in the fight that we're going to embark now, we should not get back in return war. We want to get in return appreciation from the international community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for shedding light on that. It's over to you, James.
And now here in the middle we have Han from Vietnam, who's going to tell us about her work with a British NGO.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Han from Vietnam, and I'm taking charge of youth program in a British NGO named Climate Change, and we started working in Vietnam since 2008. And I am the one who strongly understands how important to get support and empowerment to change and to enrich your communities with positive change. And today I'm come here to talk about 2 points. The first thing, climate change is a very complex issue and a cross-cutting issue to every development sectors that we haven't faced before. And so my experience and also my suggestion is to be open-minded and to be humble to learn from your seniors, because they know how complex it is. And if we take a learning, collaborating to work with them, I believe that they will be open to learn and to support you. And the second point is that actually this is what I wanted to talk to Vietnamese ones at home, mainly because you guys here are great enough. That would be to take the courage and to get ready to take challenge to change, because sometimes it will be get hurt to earn that process, but it's 200% worth to try, because in the daytime I work with vulnerable communities, but in the nighttime I work with young people to support them to take their ideas to the policy making process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and please, delegates, remember the 40-second rule.
Yes, I have Marvi here from Turkey.
Hello everyone, my name is Marwa, I'm from Turkey. My question is a bit different. Despite all the damages and negative sides of nuclear energy, in my country, nuclear energy is a necessity. I'm aware of it because our energy sources are limited and we are running out of energy. And there's something I'm not sure about. You see, if we use nuclear energy as a weapon, it will damage all the people. And if you think that, I'm sorry. I'm excited. Thank you so much. You're nearly time. Yes, you see, nuclear energy also means nuclear weapon. And if my government wants it as an energy, I'm okay with it. But if my government wants it as a nuclear weapon and political power, I'm not okay with it. I just want to say that.
Thank you very much. And we still think about the 40 seconds because our time is running out.
Okay, I made my point.
Thank you very much. Jennifer.
I have Daisy here from the Netherlands to talk about follow-up since the last one, Young World.
Hello, good day. I just wanted to say that you were absolutely right about the funeral part, because I think for me, environment is the reason why I decided to become a social entrepreneur. And I don't want to talk now about achievement, facts, numbers, but about matters of the heart and what I did when I realized that it's about us as human beings, maybe like not be human beings in the future. So for everyone who's wondering, what can I do when I go back? I've organized 4 events called Heart Initiative. It's very simple. First, when they come in, you give them food. Food brings joy. We have heard from Jamie Oliver the importance of food. We've heard from Hans the importance of joy. You ask 2 speakers to come and speak about the human part of environment, one to talk about the practical part of environment, and then you make sure that they engage in an interactive dialogue. And what I want to ask all of you, if you do that, put all the ideas on Facebook page of Heart Initiative, because it's ideas we need. And I want to finish with this quote of why it is so important. I just read it downstairs. It left my... but it was about the most important things in life is to share hope, ideas, and dreams. So please look up Heart Initiative or come to me and go to politicians as a human being, not from their title, because those are the people that we need and those people are going to help you. So don't go for titles, go for the heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have an offer here from our organizers, and the offer is if you all stick to 30 seconds, all the people that are at the moment in the queue can still get their message across. If we start with...
Rani from India, who's going to use her keyword plutonium.
Yeah. I wanted to add upon the ladies just said about the nuclear energy. I don't know if you guys know about that. Worldwide, thousands of pounds of plutonium are being produced, used, and stored under conditions which are inadequate. And using current technology, only 2 pounds of plutonium is required to make any nuclear device. I don't know if somebody is working on it or not. I don't want to get into whether nuclear energy for or against. But if nobody is working, then I would like to work. I would like to start this work.
I think that almost opens another debate.
Okay, anybody working on this? No. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Then we have a good project.
Okay. we have Eric. We have Eric.
Anybody wants to work on this?
Yes,
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's my team. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, that's the network bit and the next speaker, because otherwise we won't get through.
Here's Eric from South Africa.
Afternoon. What I wanted to emphasize was the fact that the environmental question is not only a question of the environment, it's a question of fundamental socio-economic equality, and it affects everything and it permeates through all the structures. People are sitting here. I know people in the past have said, no, it's not a question that affects business. It's not a question that necessarily affects politics. What is crucial is that all of us here, that we rise in those structures as well. That in business and in government, that we rise in those specific areas to positions where we can make decisions. Activism is important. It's important that we plant trees and that we go to schools. But the emphasis needs to be made on decisions and on making an impact in areas where the influence is far greater than it can be at the bottom level. That's the fundamental question. And I would like to propose further that the resolution is inadequate as it stands. We need to focus on a multilateral approach. It's important that we focus on biodiversity as well as carbon neutrality, because the resolution as it stands doesn't focus on the whole issue in its comprehensive nature.
Thank you very much. So maybe biodiversity can be included, Jennifer.
All right, I have the pleasure of introducing Ricardo from Nicaragua.
Hey guys, I'm sorry to speak so much, but I'm really passionate about all of these things, so I cannot just stop myself. Okay, so one of the things that concern me, I've been in the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Cancun and also in Copenhagen, and it was surprising to see how slow the process is. I saw that the politicians don't really care. They're just there defending their interests. I was in private meetings with people from the United States, and all the thing they said was, oh, you know, but we have to defend our businesses, our interests, blah, 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 and that's the situation that's happening with China. So if we leave it up to them, change will not happen. But climate change, like the gentleman before me said, is something that affects us all and everything we do. Like, for example, the hurricane right now that happened in the United States caused $7 billion in damages. So it affects the economy, affects people, affects everyone. So we have to start with ourselves, right? And simple things is like, number one, become vegetarian. Eating meat is the worst thing you can do for the climate. Consume less, use goods, and buy used goods and clothes. Walk and cycle, and just simply talk about it with your friends. I'm really surprised that over here, when she asked if this is the biggest problem, yeah, I'm going to end soon. The biggest problem, almost nobody raised their hand. I'm surprised of that, because we are some of the most informed people in the world. So if we are not concerned about this, who would be?
I think we've seen that. James can take it away. And before you start introducing, let me repeat, the offer was made for a short intervention, and then everybody can speak.
I don't think this is going to be short, though, but I realize that no one from China ever speaks up at these sessions, so I'm glad that we have a Chinese-American, Bonnie, who's here, and she has studied otters in Brazil, and she's even discovered a new species of sea slugs. I had to check that she meant that. That's amazing. And in a few days' time, she starts her first class at university at Harvard.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much for the speakers and all the delegates for really inspiring me here. And I just wanted to add something that I don't think has been brought up yet, and that's biodiversity conservation. And we have so many really unique ecosystems in every single corner of the globe. And we have these great animals and these great natural resources that if we lose them, if they become extinct, we can never get them back again. So that's another thing I think is really important for our environment, especially with things like climate change that's affecting these environments. And another thing I just wanted to bring up, again, I said these ecosystems are all over the world, and I think it's really important for us to remember that these political boundaries are just lines on the map that we humans draw. Actually, in nature, these boundaries don't exist, and we need to erase these boundaries if we are all to work together and save every single global corner of the Earth. So thank you very much, you guys, and I hope we could do this together.
Thank you very much. It almost turns into a pre-Rio conference, Boris.
Well, I don't know what you mean introduction, but there's no time. So in the second, I would like to let the people speak. So this is Anna from Mozambique. Take it away.
I'd just briefly like to say I agree entirely with the motion, but there's a very key issue, which is you have to think about the context of the solutions you propose. It was offered that we should cut fossil fuel subsidies, and that was widely applauded. But in Mozambique, the lowest minimum wage is $60 a month. That would be $2 a day. And half of that goes on to transport and food while you're working. If you were to increase the price of petrol for whatever reason, that means food costs go up, transport costs go up, and that is not affordable for the majority of the Mozambican population. It's just not feasible.
Thank you very much for that observation. Over to you, Jennifer.
All right, we have Mahmoud from Egypt.
Hi, guys. So from my personal experience with what we can do with the environment, the science does look a bit complicated, but the knowledge is out there. there is something that all of us can do in where we are. We don't have to be business leaders to actually make that change. My personal experience was just 6 months ago from now. 7 Egyptians went to Denmark, and I was part of the team to learn more about climate change and what we can do. We came back to Egypt and we teach 30 other Egyptians. And now, 6 months later, we have actually impacted 200 families in 3 cities in Egypt, telling them how they can conserve the environment, save water, and actually save money as well while they do that. It is possible. The science is out there. Every one of us here can actually make that change.
Thank you so much. James, please.
Okay, Efuturi from Nigeria, who's a civil engineering student.
Okay. I'll plead with everyone here, all 2011 One Young World delegates, to go back to their country and encourage young persons, tell them the importance of environmental sustainability. If possible, form environmental conservation club and sustainability clubs in your various secondary schools, go to primary schools. Because it was my exposure to environmental conservation club in my secondary school that made me study civil engineering. And I also tell you, I also plead with every one of us, I will need down to plead with every one of us, that we should go back to our country, and we should all observe the World Environmental Day every year. We should donate at least 45 minutes in environmental conservation. I will need and plead with everyone. So please, go back to your country as One Young World delegates. During the World Environmental Day, donate 45 minutes of your time or 1 hour of your time in conservation of the environment, cleanliness of the environment. That will also plead with Shell and other companies in Nigeria that they should please maintain their pipes, because normally, as an engineer, you're supposed to change your pipes after 15, 20 years, but they leave their pipe for 30, 40 years, continue oil spillage all over Nigeria Delta and in Nigeria. So thank you. Please go back with this information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I see that some people are trying to join the queues. I think some people are joining the queues after we've made the offer. So over to you, Doris. I think in your queue, it was the lady with the wonderful headgear that was the last in the line.
Aha, okay. Well, this is Carmel from Switzerland. Go ahead, my baby.
Thank you. I will take the chance to be unreasonable. At the end of the day, it comes down to a simple equation. Population times average consumption basket equals 1.3. We use 1.3 Earth today. So we have heard a lot about consumption and how we can reduce it with efficiency and green production and all that stuff. But maybe we also have to think about the other half of this equation, about population, to solve the problem we are facing in the environment. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to start a war or anything, but
thank you so much. It's a different look at the issue. Jennifer.
All right, we have Ryan from Pittsburgh in the United States.
Hi, I'm Ryan from Pittsburgh. 2 quick things. I know we only have a few seconds to talk. First, please try, I know you hear a lot of things in the news and the media, but try not to generalize the United States. We definitely believe in climate change. All of the delegates here believe in climate change, so please just don't generalize. Second, I come from Pittsburgh, a steel town, and it's polluted from when we used to produce steel. We don't produce it anymore, but we used to produce it and it really polluted the ground. So we have this great environmental effort we actually put sunflowers in the earth. The sunflowers pull the metal out of the earth, and then you can turn the sunflowers into biodiesel. So that's just an example of something that we do in our community.
Okay, those of you standing up, keep standing, don't walk away.
Everyone who's standing up, come up on stage, because what we're going to do, we're going to pull the resolution up, we're going to vote on it, and we're going to keep
come to the front,
keep the mics on here and live stream, and each one of you can make your point. We want to give everybody we're having a few messages about people dying of hunger, so we want to give them the opportunity to go for lunch. So if Karuna can come up and read the resolution. Those of you who are on the mics, yeah, you guys come, our wonderful councillors,
don't be so shy.
patient councillors come back. Those of you on the mics, if you just gather on the back here. Karuna, if you want to come up and read the resolution. Which means you're going to be heard.
Change of plans. One's got to be flexible.
On behalf of the One Young World ambassadors, I propose the 2011 summit to adopt the following resolution. In the belief that combating climate change will require collaborative efforts from individuals, businesses, and governments,
and that the upcoming Rio+20 Earth Summit is a key opportunity to accelerate progress towards sustainable development globally, we call upon business leaders to rise to this occasion and set significant carbon footprint reduction goals in their businesses and demand the same from governments. We call upon One Young World delegates to prove to our business leaders that becoming carbon neutral is good for business, and failing to see a commitment towards carbon footprint reduction by a company, to withdraw our support from these businesses. Thank you.
So, this is your resolution drafted by the One Young World ambassadors from last year. What we're going to do is you're going to vote on it. Actually, this is a really bad plan of mine because you guys can't vote.
I haven't said what I have to say to come to say, so I cannot vote, and it's unfair. So can I ribbon? Yeah. So can he? He have to come on. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. My name is
How can I refuse you?
My name is Urias Gall, and I'm from Liberia. I just have a small suggestion on the resolution. One, all of the speakers who talked today talked about COP17 and how important it is. Surprisingly, the resolution does not cover how we need to encourage government to ensure that we have a legally binding emissions reduction treaty, and also that we have an accessible financial mechanism system. We don't have it there. And we're saying that businesses should demand government to reduce the footprint. I think it's the reverse. Government demand business to do something, like my country. Business doesn't demand government to do something. So I think I have a slight problem with the resolution. We switch the language. I can vote. Thank you very much.
If you promise me you'll all do 10 seconds, you can all go, but I just don't want to keep these guys in here for another 40 minutes. 10 seconds,
what
go.
I want to say is just easily. When everybody talk about Africa, they say South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania. But there is country named Republic of Chad. We need help too. We have a lake. Our lake named Lake Chad. It's not only for Chad, it's for all Central Africa. For Nigeria, for Niger, for Cameroon. So please help it. Thank you.
Help Chad. Next. Short.
That was a hard comment to follow when, given what I'm about to say. But I just wanted to bring up the issue of how we communicate these issues. For many people, the ideas about the environment are quite abstract ideas that they can't relate to very easily, much like health is much more relatable than the environment. So we come up with this language about it, these issues being too complex, we can't talk about them, blah, blah, blah. But in actual fact, they're usually quite simple, and it's more, oh, sorry. Gosh, time rolls on. I just wanted to make sure when you're talking about the environment, be excited about it, because these issues are dire, but at the same time, the world is going to be a much better place if we do something.
So be
about
excited,
these issues.
great.
So
Next. Thank you.
Hello, I'm from Cambodia, and my name is Chantal. And I did not have questions, but I try to have a suggestion earlier. So I mean that if, we have an importance to protect our environment and climate change. If you treat the world kindly, the world will treat you kindly. So come back and protect climate change altogether. Yes.
Next.
Hi. I think everyone knows this is a controversial subject. So I wanted to say that 20,000 years ago, we could probably walk from Scotland to the North Pole in a straight line. The ice was down here. So I wanted to ask to you if anyone knows why the data about the scientific data that says that climate change is happening, but it's not driven by man. Why are those data not in the official records? So I believe it's happening. I just don't believe it's man-made.
Next.
Hello. Hello, I'm Annette from Tanzania. And I just wanted to get one thing across, especially for the African delegates. We have a beautiful continent, and we've learned a lot from all these other places where the climatic change has occurred and has really done them bad. So I would want to tell you that you go back home, as we go back to Africa, We should let all our friends know that we have a beautiful continent and we want to keep, and we don't want to lose whatsoever is going to be there. And then in the next, just in addition, to just send a message across is that if we don't take care, the problem of climatic change is going to be much bigger than that of malaria, TB, and HIV/AIDS, which is right now happening. Thank you very much.
Hello, it's Htet from Myanmar. I just want to add a very short suggestion that environment is also related to human rights. So we all have the right to enjoy the good environment. So when working on our environment, I just want to add, or I just want to change 5R as 6R. Refuse, reduce, reuse, return, recycle, and also respect. Respect the human rights. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Yasser from Morocco, living in Canada. I got a poem for you. Asia, Europe, America, Australia, and Africa. All of us share vision and a common mission. That's to inspire our generation to engage with the population. Let us join hands today to make our planet united, I say. One young world, let's unite to make change, continue the fight. Many companies, NGOs, governments are listening to me and you. They want to help us out to get through the obstacles we face every day when we get involved with, per se. Information, inspiration, and action. Mission, passion, expression. What a great place to be, to learn from each other. Let's see. One young world fellow delegates, founders, partners, collaborators, and stakeholders. When there is will, there is way. And one young world is the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
So for many activists, the indifferent attitude is the most difficult and annoying thing to deal with. And it's so difficult to motivate people to, kind of re-care about the environment and the environmental issues and any issues really. And so from my point of view, I think that a good way to combat this, apathetic attitude is to start at the very bottom with local, tight-knit communities, because using that method, we can help the environment and still build community values and make it fun. And if it's fun, then I believe that we can rebuild that connection with the environment on a larger scale.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mehmet from Turkey. Well, buildings have a great contribution to CO2 emissions. We all know that, but that must be changed. And I think it's possible because they've just built a 1 kilometer skyscraper in Dubai, so we have the technology, and we can build zero-emission buildings, even zero-emission cities. I study architecture, so I know that I have responsibility. Now I am trying to learn how to build green because the teachers are not teaching us in my school, although it's one of the best architecture schools in my country. So, and my dream is to share this knowledge with other students by establishing a students' center for architecture students.
Great.
Hi guys, I'm Erin from the US, and it's really quick, but we're talking about making it fun, making it simple, and making it high impact. People say, what can I do? Going home tomorrow about action. We're launching Project Green Challenge October 1st to 30th. It's 30 steps that you can do in your own life. You've probably all heard I'm about individual action. So I encourage all of you to just take a look and get these 30 steps and take it into your schools and workplaces.
All right, I'm going to talk fast just to be fair to everybody, but this is the thing I'm trying to say. Climate justice has to do, it's more than just preventing, because already we've not done a good job at preventing, what's going to happen. Climate change is happening right now, and people are going to die as soon as we leave this place. What I'm proposing right now is a twofold solution. Well, if we can't prevent it, what can we do to help those people that are in need? We have to put strategies in place that are going to be able to get these people out of harm's way, get these people out of danger. We don't want another Katrina. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, this is Bashak from Turkey, and I come from a developing world, as many of you do, and in Turkey, the environment is always ignored in favor of economic interests. And what I want to say is, you can call me an optimist, but investing in green can also boost the economy too, because investing in green will create a competition which will make our economy to run again, and if that's a risk, I would be glad to take it.
Okay, we're going to pull the resolution back up. You wanted just to make a point about it?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that the resolution is not about businesses making demands from governments, but it's about businesses being an equal partner in the whole process. Because we wanted to have a call of action for the delegates, something to be very tangible, something which you can take back to your country. And this would be each of you going back to your company and telling them how reducing carbon footprint is good for their business. This is something tangible that each one of us can do here. Go to your company and tell it. And that's what I wanted to say.
Great, thank you. If you would like to go to the voting slide, if we could move on. So do you, 1, agree, 2, disagree, or 3, abstain on the resolution? Vote now, please. I think the really interesting thing about this and what you need to do now is the 21% I abstain is the highest we've had. Now, I don't believe it's because in this room people don't believe that climate is an issue and they need to do something about it. It's the definition of what you need to do. So either through the resolution or really what we want you to do through what you take away from here and the action you take, whatever your view on it is, go do it and make it happen. So on that note, this is a global event. It is now lunchtime in Marrakesh, so we'd like to invite you to have lunch with us.